Hello, welcome back. In this video, I'm rolling with Jackie, my coach. We've just had a private session together and we're finishing now with a 10-minute roll. Nice and steady, nothing too high pressured or intense, but we're going to test each other's jiu-jitsu. Jackie's looking to see whether I've taken on board anything but she's tried to get across. But I'm picking up the theme from my last video, which was about investing in loss. And I'm borrowing a concept from Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu is attributed as the author of The Art of War. It's a book that's written over 2,500 years ago and is considered an absolute classic on a treatise on warfare and on leadership, and it runs at odds perhaps to some of our ways of thinking, perhaps around what is winning, what is losing. There you go, I've just lost to Jackie right there with a very simple choke. But I'm happy to lose, as I talked about in the last video. I'm investing in loss. It's actually money in the bank for me. And why is that? Well, that's where winning, not winning, this concept from Sun Tzu kind of comes in, that whenever I'm rolling, whoever it is, I'm not actually interested in winning. I'm interested in developing my jiu-jitsu. Winning is an output. It's not a goal. Perhaps if you're in a competition, then yeah, winning is a goal. But when you're in your own gym, rolling with your teammates, you're there to learn jiu-jitsu. You're not there to compete with your teammates. You really ought to be building each other up and not necessarily smashing each other down. I know that's not the culture in all gyms, but there's certainly some places where it feels like if you're not actually winning every single roll and every single roll doesn't feel like a battle, then you're just not working hard enough. But that would seem to go at odds with 2,000 years of martial culture. And I know that jiu-jitsu in many respects as a combat sport is very different from the traditional martial arts that I learned over 40 years ago in terms of Shotokan karate and a classical form of jiu-jitsu and kung fu, and there was this philosophy of winning, not winning, i.e. when you're sparring and working with your teammates, your goal is to improve personally, to develop your skills. And if your focus, mental focus, is purely on winning, you may actually be very good at that. You may be very good at winning, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're learning the art. Whatever art it is, be it jiu-jitsu, karate, judo, whatever that combat sport or martial art is, winning doesn't necessarily denote that you've actually improved. It just means that you're good at winning. And I know that may sound paradoxical to some people, and some people may vehemently disagree. But similar to teaching and coaching, many of the best coaches in the world were not the best players. Again, any kind of sport, if you care to look at it, often the best coaches weren't necessarily the outstanding players. If I think of football, Maradona, George Best, I know. Pele, not renowned for their coaching. Absolutely brilliant players, but not necessarily went on to become outstanding coaches. And often the outstanding coaches in any sporting endeavour are the ones who can actually really take an objective look at the game, be it the game of football or in this case the game of jiu-jitsu. And I think that's really important, because I think sometimes in jiu-jitsu culture, although I think things are changing, because the discourse on this in terms of how jiu-jitsu has spread and the diversity of people practicing it and the skills that people bring from outside of jiu-jitsu. Again, I'm thinking in terms of people who are professional teachers, who are professional coaches in different arenas of sport, and are bringing some of this discipline and knowledge and skill into the realm of jiu-jitsu. So just because you have won multiple gold medals at numerous world levels of jiu-jitsu, doesn't matter the rule set, doesn't actually mean that you are going to be a good coach. Doesn't mean actually that you should be responsible for a large group of diverse people in a gym setting. That is a skill that is completely different from being able to win jiu-jitsu medals. Again, this may well be raising the hackles of quite a number of people, I don't know. But if you think of any other endeavour, in any kind of education role, that role demands skills around teaching and coaching, and those are learnable skills. And I think we can do better to a certain extent in jiu-jitsu. That's not, but I'm not here criticizing anyone or anything, but when I look at jiu-jitsu and the state of the art of coaching, it's certainly improving. And one of the reasons why I'm with Jackie is because she is, in my opinion, an excellent coach. But we could do better. Many of the sports where coaching has improved, again, I think of football, certainly from my basis based here in the UK, has improved no end in terms of coaching development, the requirements of someone wishing to become a coach are very different from someone who's an excellent football player. And I think that should be the same in jiu-jitsu. And that could be built into the belt system. So my goal here is to learn jiu-jitsu and hopefully maybe become a coach. I've been fortunate enough to have had lots of personal development in my careers over 40, 50 years almost, in terms of a trainer, as having a significant role as a mentor in higher education, as well as a tutor and facilitator and supervisor, and working as a manager and leading teams. And none of that was based on just my personal performance. I had to attend countless training courses and engage in extra education to actually develop those skills as a coach and as a trainer. So just be mindful that if you are constantly winning your roles, that's all grand, but are you actually improving in jiu-jitsu? Are you winning simply as a consequence of just being able to dominate through your physicality? Or are you actually able to demonstrate that you've improved exponentially in your jiu-jitsu skill. Let me know what you think. I know that could be contentious, but for me, it's an important part of my journey as I continue learning and the challenge of jiu-jitsu. Take care. Thanks for watching. See you again.